All right, let's bring in Ryan Khurana. He's a contributor for the National Review and Young Voices advocate. Ryan, let's get to the heart of this issue, first of all. Is it possible, or is Google indeed altering their algorithm to sideline the president?
There's no evidence of that whatsoever. So the article that Trump retweeted claiming there was a bias was using the Google search algorithm. And on Google search, what happens is sites that are larger get prioritized. And a site like CNN is just way larger than almost any right-wing news site. So even the article admitted that Wall Street Journal and Fox News were on the top results, which are the only two very large right-wing news outlets that we know of. So this just seems like a standard practice of prioritizing larger companies and has nothing to do with an anti-conservative bias.
Ryan, big picture here, though. There's already a healthy amount of mistrust of search engines and algorithms and the internet overall. Do the president's tweets and his conspiracy theories only really add to the unease?
It's kind of disappointing that Trump has continued to fuel the fire of certain conservative groups who claim that search engines are biased against conservatives. But as I said, there is no evidence of this anti-conservative bias. And it would just be bad business for Google to be anti-conservative. There are other search engines out there, and there's about 60 million active readers of conservative news sites every month. So that would be 60 million search engine users that would just go to another company.
But one second, I want to ask, actually came out and said that they were censoring conservative news stories. So conservatives do have the right to question what's going on here.
So what happened at Facebook is very different than what happened at Google. What is being claimed about Google is a manipulation of the search ordering, which is a very complicated procedure to actively bias against conservative content. At Facebook, it seemed more that there were certain left-leaning employees who were charged with content moderation, who were flagging conservative stories that they did not like. That's a very different kind of system to what Google is doing, because if Google was biasing against conservatives in this way, it would have to be a top-down command. What happened at Facebook was a few low-level content moderating employees who disliked conservative content. And you find that across the board at Facebook, that there are certain employees who don't like certain content and flag it erroneously.
But Ryan, when you Google a topic and you get, negative results on a person or, an issue, there's something going on here. I mean, do you think the results say more about the person or the topic than the actual search engine itself?
Well, that's exactly it. What it says more about is what the underlying media content is. It just seems to be that larger media sources will give more negative coverage of the president, and Google is picking up on that. That is more of a cultural thing at large media institutions rather than an issue with a tech giant like Google.
And I'm glad you explained the difference between Facebook and Google, because sometimes it could seem like social media is just one huge platform. It's curious to me, though, because the Russians used social media to try to influence the election and have Trump win. So liberals can also argue that social media was being used against them.
Well, that's the thing. Almost everyone has argued that social media has amplified the other side at some point. Well, it's just about what is the individual user is exposed to most. And a lot of people, especially people who like to get into arguments online, are exposed to things that they dislike a lot more. So a right-wing person will be exposed to a lot of things that they really hate about, let's say, Hillary, and a left-wing person about things they really hate about Trump. And therefore, you'll all believe that the other side is using the site against you. It's just kind of a cultural thing that's happened in a very divisive political time.
So Silicon Valley's whole spiel that they're trying to bring the world together, I mean, in fact, is not happening. Thank you for confirming that. All right. Ryan Khurana, thank you so much, as always.